It was a pleasant ride through the countryside until the constant slams into potholes stole my joy and eventually turned this journey into a nightmare. Many of the roads in Bole Bamboy are riddled with potholes. Even if you're wearing a seatbelt, the road forces you to dance. Attempts by some locals to control excessive speed by some drivers piqued my interest. Residents had built sand mounds to act as speed ramps. According to Isaac Bamunye, who spoke on behalf of the residents, too many people have died here.
We are putting up this speed ramp because anytime we have been observing an accident here. That is why we are putting up. Just 3 weeks ago, one of our father lost his life through this road accident. That's why we are putting up the speed ramp. So we are calling for the government to come and support us. If not, this our community, things are going bad.
There were 4 of such mounds on the same stretch. However, the downpour had washed away their efforts. But residents say they have a plan.
So our plan is that we are just contributing some small coins so that we can buy cement and other things, so that we can put up, we can get some cement and then we also make it in the proper way.
When asked how oncoming vehicles could be warned to take precaution, here's what Isaac said.
So the first thing we are doing, we just cut some leaves and then we put on the road so that any vehicle come in will know that there's something happening here, so that he reduce his speed and then that's the for now.
The situation here appears to be symptomatic of a bigger road safety concern, the conundrum of ramps. Whereas this is designed to control speed and save lives, motorists are concerned about how this tool is being deployed and its adverse effect on night driving. Further down in the central region town of Asin Datieso, a driver, Kofi Usu, who plies the Asin Cape Coast Road, approached the team when he figured out what the story was about. He's livid about what he describes as poor construction of speed ramps on that stretch.
Me how I want to say, Bumpy dear, you see, it is signpost here, it is
My problem is that there are no road signs to warn us. Some of them just spring up. And roads are not constructed per the standards of the Highways Authority. It is destroying our cars.
Highway for Nankasa, yeah, Omunim said, Musibi, a Yanua, Carne for and Concoha problem. Would ye, and the Carne qua a pimp and Sana, wait me, Casa was seen quite swinging about 20 years. So what I say, Nemo so been to them not question the same BTC answer because the ABC and I say, and the same no more to me is to be yet. The Bumpy things with that years, you say, Bumpy is in bumping. Carbet made bumping so, I ain't going to be see it.
He noted the nature of the ramps does not only affect their vehicles but also their health.
We have developed waist pains as a result. This is bad.
A passenger in his car added her voice.
There's one ahead of us. Many trucks fall off on that stretch. Imagine the harm that will come to those nearby.
The problem here is that the road sign, is just where the ramp is. How exactly is any motorist expected to take precaution when you have the signpost, which is, by the way, falling off just where you have the road ramp? But again, the residents here at Asin Datieso say the speed on the road is snuffing out lives, including children.
Instead of them going there, when you start on that, when the road is so lean, road near lean, so as road near lean, the car can see a banner, one man kind of to bounce that money. Even post and yes, speed on my mother to sway, yeah. Carbon cars, really,
adesa sa white line we say enya dwuma so wonam takwa kwan so a unim kwan so abe o de ka be hwe isi a come say star white line in them ena no so ye reflector they say car light ni to so a obi ehu say line we say na eden eda me ebi ni so enti akwata highway for na nkasa no madwuma no madja momom na timanfo mom na eye bumpy mom eden emo because o baby bi o say the see ma international road pa na baby bi o say wo so a e kire say
in fact the speed ramp is disturbing us a lot, especially if you don't know the road, if you have not been passing on this road, it can lead you to cause an accident, because sometimes you approach the ramp before you get to know there is a ramp. So if they can maybe fix a signboard, I think it will help us.
The residents say that's because of the speeding. That's why some of them created themselves. You see, some put sand, they mold the sand on the road. How do you drivers respond to that?
I think they are right, because I think some years back, people have been dying through this speeding and others. So I think some of them, they write to the authority, but the authority were not responding to that. And children were dying out of those speeding and others. So I think out of their own power and others, they try to maneuver and constructed this ramp on the road.
Later, at Anumabo, we found this truck that has fallen on its side. An eyewitness to the accident tells Joy News the truck lost balance whilst climbing the ramp. This, he added, is a common phenomenon.
One was switching in California, car the owner of one pro the over soon. No ban of old as job and mistake.
Now, I don't test you.
I don't test equal 5.
5. Busumin
Oh.
The ramp is too high, especially on one side, so the truck tried to cross over on the lower side. That is what happened. This happens very often. 5 cases alone in the past few months.
Aside from the nature of the ramps and the random construction, motorists say the absence of road signs worsened the situation. Walter is a driver here.
We are pleading that they should bring a signboard that will notify those who have not been using this road. Yeah, because sometimes when you are driving at night, you will see like those who are not used to this road. Sometimes they will pass here, and if you are not careful, once they approach the ramp unexpectedly, they will come to your way and it leads to accident. I think last time it happened on this road. Yes.
On the Accra-Aflao Road, Joy News received reports of how a similar action had allegedly caused an accident. Our cameras captured many ramps on the highways and not well-positioned road signs to warn motorists. In 1953, Arthur Holly Compton, a physicist and Nobel Prize winner, created a design for what he called a traffic control bump. Some people referred to the device as Holy Hump, which was later changed to a speed bump. Speed ramps, as they have now come to be known, are effective in keeping vehicle speeds down, but poorly designed speed bumps that stand too tall or with too sharp an angle can be disruptive for drivers and may be difficult to navigate for vehicles with low ground clearance, even at a very low speed. So what is the standard and protocol for the construction of speed ramps? Here's road safety consultant and executive director of Top Tech Transport and Logistics Limited, Cecil Gabra.
We have the speed limits, okay, if you look at the LI21, it is specified that when you are driving in town, you should drive at a maximum speed of 50 kilometers per hour. If you are traveling on the highway, it is 90 kilometers per hour. If you are traveling on the motorway, it is 100 kilometers per hour. However, if you are driving and you get to a place like a hospital, one, you're not even supposed to honk your horn. You are not supposed to drive at any speed. You need to lower your speed. But as you know, drivers are really stubborn. We are really recalcitrant, right? The laws are there, but we won't. So speed ramps have been placed there to reduce your speed, to force you to reduce your speed. In other areas, we have what we call the rumble strips. Rumble strips, of course, are rubber-like substance that are laid in, I'll say, on the road. Okay, sometimes there are 2, there are 3, and then if you run through it, it will give you an uncomfortable sound. You hear something like bum, 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 right? And then the other name for it is sleeping policeman, okay, which tells you that, hey, my brother, be alert, slow down, okay? So in other cases where ramps must not be fixed there, we fix rumble strips. Okay. Now, these are done by engineers, okay? In Ghana, when you talk about road engineers, I'm sure we have the best, okay? So they are supposed to do it. So when you talk about rumble strips, you talk about ramps, nobody can do it. It is up to the Department of Urban Roads. That is, if the ramps are in the city, and if they are on the highways, then it is the Ministry of Roads and Highways' responsibilities. Nobody else can be allowed to put up any ramp. It is actually an offense for anybody to think, oh, people are dying on our roads, and therefore, no. There's always a format to go about it, right? You cannot even put any rope there. That's an offense. You go to Tema. Precisely. You can't do anything. The only thing we do is that when we see them, we beg them that they should take their time. There are people walking here.
So the ropes are illegal too?
The ropes are illegal. You cannot put anything on the road. Whoever is responsible for that must be arrested. You don't do that. You've taken the laws into your own hands. And if you look at it, either they put cement on the tarred road, and then cement and then the bitumen are not friends. So later on when they remove it, you see there's a hole there.
Beyond the illegality, Mr. Gabra says it has consequences for road safety.
And now in the construction of the ramp itself, it goes by the area, the speed, before they construct the ramp. You will notice that other ramps are high, others are low. But then the engineers will never put up a very huge ramp to destroy people's vehicles and then mainly cause an accident. Because if the ramps are very high, it will cause an accident. Right. What happens is that they may put up rumble strips before, and then there are always warnings, because there are warning signs to tell you that there's a ramp on the road. So before the ramp, you will notice that there's a hump, and the background is in red. When you see it, depending on the speed of the road, usually if it is a speed of about 50 kilometers per hour, it is placed 50 meters before the actual ramp itself. And on the actual ramp, you will see the hump sign, and this time in blue. The background is blue, telling you that it is there. The ramp is there. So if you haven't seen it, you look for that sign, and it is there. So you will have to compulsorily reduce your speed before you pass on that ramp. Again, that ramp is measured according to the speed. So if, for instance, in the town of, let's say, Michirimoko or Nyamiyadum, and then you have gone to place an 8-inch ramp there, 1, you are not supposed to do it. 2, you are rather causing accidents, and 3, you must be arrested. So you cannot have the laws in your hand, in your own hands, to say, let me put up a ramp. So the right thing must be done.
Going round, I found situations, many instances where you see the blue, the hump on the blue, just where the ramp is. The red is missing. And so drivers were very much agitated. They were livid that in a lot of the instances, they are not given ample notice to slow down. Can it be an omission by the highway authority, or that is just the fact that perhaps they were mounted and have been taken away? What has your experience or observation taught you?
Well, so sometimes you must not put up the problem on the engineers, right? Because I'll give you an example. Somewhere around Dankwa Circle, the no U-turn has been removed about 3-4 times. I notified the Department of Urban Roads. They replace it, And one day I went there and noticed that somebody deliberately cuts it. When I followed it up, not knowing that they cut it and go and sell it for aluminium ingots, there we go. So the material is being stolen. And Department of Urban Roads or the Highway Authority will never put up a blue hump and then leave the red. Usually the red comes, depending on the road, maybe 50 meters, 100 meters away, which is on the highway, to inform you that, my brother, slow down, you are getting to a ramp.
Road engineer Abdullahi Mahama is urging the government to adopt new technology to make the road safer.
When it's properly done by the engineers, sometimes they use the pavement blocks to do one ramp. There's one they call the speed table that you can motorist around the Kaswa Road. And there are the speed tables like this ones that we see here, the speed tables. They are coming to the rainbow strips. So when they are properly done, at least they reduce the extent of deterioration on the roads. But most of the speed runs that we have in the country, both approaches of the speed runs, you see potholes generating because of the halting of the vehicles, sudden halt of the vehicles in both approaches. So I propose that for us to be able to at least maintain the integrity of the roads, we have to introduce, at least before you get to the speed ramps, about 30 meters or so, we need to have what we call the rigid pavement, in this case either concrete or pavement, so that they would not allow the roads to deteriorate much faster.
So if citizens have no right to check or halt the rate of speed on our highways or any stretch of road in the country, why are city authorities looking on helplessly? The indiscriminate construction of road ramps is increasingly becoming dangerous. Clearly, there's the need for urgent action, because what was designed by Crompton to save lives is gradually becoming a nemesis for road safety here in Ghana. Ernest Minu, Joy News.